This is problem number 2 on the sample test problems for test number 2. An online poll of Newsweek's website asked a series of questions to determine the religious beliefs and practices of Americans. The poll could be accessed by anyone who could connect to the website, but the same computer could not be used to submit multiple sets of answers. Among the questions was, how important is spirituality in your daily life? Of 145,110 responses to this question, 60% chose very important, 19% chose somewhat important, 8% chose not too important, 11% chose not at all important, and 1% chose don't know. A, how would you describe the target population for this survey? Target population is the large set of things that we're trying to get information about. The target population, here it says we're trying to determine the religious beliefs and practices of Americans. So the target population is all Americans. B, how would you describe the sampling frame for this survey? Sampling frame is the set of all the objects that have a chance to participate in the study. And so the only people that had a chance to participate in this study are people that have access to a computer that's online. And these people also need to have known about this survey. Presumably, most of the people who know about the survey are Newsweek readers. So in a nutshell, the sampling frame here, the only folks who had a chance to participate are Newsweek readers who had access to the internet. C, how would you describe the sample for the survey? Okay, so the sample is the actual participants, and it's these 145,110 people. D, describe 3 sources of bias that might have affected the results of this survey. There are lots of different possible sources of bias here. You just have to be creative and list a few problems that, that might arise in terms of bias. So one thing is that only people with internet access could participate. Another source of bias is that if people are have particularly strong opinions about this question, about religion and spirituality, they might be more inclined to participate, whereas people who were not so interested in talking about spirituality and religion might be less inclined to spend their time filling out a survey. So you might say some with a strong opinion about religion might be more inclined to participate. We're trying to get information about Americans. That was the goal, underlined there at the top in blue. But there's nothing here that says only Americans could access Newsweek's website. So maybe another source of bias is that some foreigners could have participated. Certainly, these are not the only 3 sources of bias. There are lots of good answers to this question. Just show me that you're thinking about some problems that might arise with generalizing from the results of this survey. E, do you think the survey would be more accurate if it had received 500,000 responses? Why or why not? So the idea here is that if you don't have enough responses, then you should not be generalizing from the information that you get. How many responses did we get here? It's circled in green. 145,000 people participated. 145,000 people seems like quite a lot of people to participate. So it feels like having 500,000 is not really going to change the results much at all. So we'll say no, 145,110 people is plenty. How many do you need to make sure that you have enough? So that question is certainly beyond the scope of the course. But I guess I'll say if we were trying to generalize about all Americans, and instead of having 145,110 people that did this survey, we only had 110 people that did the survey, I would say yes, 110 people is too few to say anything constructive. So having 500,000 would be a whole lot better than having 110.